Welcome to the AI Queens podcast, the show where women entrepreneurs learn to ditch the overwhelm, embrace AI, and build businesses fit for royalty. I'm Erika Stanley, your host and tech expert, here to deliver tools, tips, and actionable strategies to help you scale smarter. Let's get to it. Hey Queens, welcome back to the AI Queens podcast. So this week, I want to tell you about something that I built that has genuinely changed how I start my day. I'm calling it my Claude Command Center. And obviously I built it inside of Claude. Before you think that I am going to talk you through how I built some gorgeous color-coded dashboard with like widgets and animations, I'm not. That's not what this is. If you've been on Instagram or TikTok lately, you might have seen those beautiful Claude dashboards that everyone is building right now. And look, they're gorgeous. I love them. But for me, I don't need it to be pretty. I need it to be functional. I need it to actually work. And this one, it works for me. So here's what happened. Earlier this week, I was feeling completely overwhelmed. And this is not the cute, like, oh, my life is so busy kind of overwhelmed. I mean, like full on decision fatigue. I have deadlines coming at me from every direction, business and personal. Client projects that are wrapping up, a big presentation due at the end of the week. I'm also traveling this weekend to see family. So I've got a new tenant moving in and I need to remind her to get her power and water turned on before the weekend. I needed to text a colleague about a conference. All these things, they're all living in different places. Some of it's in Gmail, some in iMessages, like text messages. Some are in Slack with my virtual assistant, some in my calendar. And a lot of it, it's just in my head, or like written on a Post-it note, buried in my notes app. And the big problem is that there's no single place where I could just look and say, okay, here's what I need to do and in what order and what actually matters most. If this sounds familiar to you, hi, we've got similar brains. What I did, I did what any self-respecting AI queen would do. What none of you would be surprised to hear that I did. I just went into Claude and I dumped it all out. I literally said, I am feeling overwhelmed as hell. I've got decision fatigue. I need you to go through my Gmail, my text messages, my calendar, my Fathom meeting notes, my Slack. Help me understand where I'm at with everything. And then I just brain dumped everything that I was holding in my head on top of that. Every little thing that had been taking up my mental energy, the presentation, the tenant, the text message from a friend that I hadn't responded to in over a week, the invoices I hadn't followed up on, all of it. And then I said, hey, help me organize this, help me prioritize, and ask me questions along the way so we can figure out what matters most. And it did. Claude started asking me things like, is this deadline flexible? Is this going to help generate revenue for your business? How long will this take you? And through that back and forth, we reorganized everything. I told it what mattered to me. Things like, if something is urgent, even if it's not the most important task in the world, I need to handle it. If I'm 90% done with a client project, let's knock it out so I can send that final invoice. Are there invoices that I haven't sent or someone that hasn't paid me? What's coming up that I need to prepare for? And okay, so this one's a little personal. I am a terrible friend when it comes to texting. People text me, I read it, I think, oh, I really want to respond to this. Let me come back to it when I have more time to be thoughtful. And then 2 weeks go by and I have completely forgotten about it. So I even had Claude go through my iMessages and flag the ones that I needed to respond to. By the end of this conversation, Claude had given me a fully reprioritized list of everything from my brain and from all those connected tools, organized by what actually matters. And I will tell you, the week that I've been using this, I have felt so much lighter. Just getting everything in one place, getting it out of my brain, I've immediately felt lighter. I'm not any less busy, but it has really helped. And it didn't need to be a pretty dashboard to do that. Before I go any further, I want to back up a second. In order for any of this to work, you have to connect your information sources to Claude. It's going to look different for you, but for me, that meant hooking up my Gmail, my calendar, my iMessages on my Mac, my Slack that I have with my virtual assistant, Fathom for all of my Zoom meeting transcripts. And okay, so the cool thing about Fathom is that even though I'm on the free plan, it will still allow you to create a connection. So I had to figure out how to do that. If you can't figure out how to do that, you can ask Claude how to do it, which is what I did. Or you can just have it like after every meeting, send you a Slack or an email with the overview of the call. Anyway, and I connected that to Notion, which I don't really use. I use Apple Notes, but Notion has a native integration with Claude. And I had this Notion dashboard that I had downloaded from some freebie somewhere. And I wasn't really using it. But I wanted like a centralized place that it could all connect to besides Claude. And so I was like, all right, let's just put it in this dashboard. I don't want this to turn into a full tutorial of how to connect each one. That could be its own episode. But the point is, I need you to think about where your information lives, all of the things that you have to do, and get all of those sources talking to Claude. Because once they're all connected, that's where the magic happens. So here's where it gets really cool. After Claude helped me organize everything, I thought, I don't want to have to do this from scratch every single morning. I want Claude to know how to do this for me automatically. So I said, let's create a skill for this. Now, if you haven't heard me talk about skills before, let me break this down for you because it's simpler than it sounds. A skill is basically you teaching Claude exactly how to do something. Think of it like training a new employee. Imagine you just hired someone and you're teaching them how to run your morning stand-up meeting. You walk them through the steps. Here's what we review. Here's the order. Here's what we flag. And here's what we skip. Here's what we don't talk about. And once that new employee learns it, they've got that skill. They can do it every day without you having to re-explain it. That's what you're doing with Claude. You're teaching it a repeatable process, like a standard operating procedure, an SOP, so that when you say, run my daily briefing, it knows exactly what you want it to do. And here's the thing, your skill is going to be completely different from mine. Just like if I taught you how to run my business versus how someone else runs their business, their process is going to be completely different. So the skill you create for your daily command center is going to reflect your priorities, your tools, your workflow. That's where it gets really cool. The best part about this is that you do not need to know how to build this from scratch. Claude will actually walk you through all of it. It's going to ask you questions, you talk back and forth, and together you create the skill. And then when it gets to a good point and it's like, oh, okay, I understand how to do this, it will actually turn it into the skills file that it needs to be able to replicate that every single time you ask it. Here's what Claude created for my morning command center. It built a skill with 4 files. Yours are going to look different than mine, but the main ones, the first file is called its main brain. These are the step-by-step instructions for running my full morning sweep. It knows to pull from my Gmail, my calendar, my Fathom, like all of those different places, all at the same time. Then it synthesizes everything into a daily brief format that works for me and my brain. It gives me my top 3 priorities for the day, any carryovers from yesterday that I didn't finish, and it knows this because it's connected to Notion. So as I'm doing things, I'm checking them off. And it's going to give me like a little nudge on anything that's lingering, especially those quick tasks that take less than 10 minutes that I keep putting off. It's going to poke me on those things. And then every morning, every time I do this, it's going to ask me to brain dump. Again, is there anything that you're holding in your head that's not on this list? Every time I ask it to run this brief, it's going to do that every time. File 2. File 2 and 3 are kind of the same. These are primary references. This is where it knows my key contacts. So people in iMessage that actually matter versus just like a random spam text message. People in Gmail that really matter to me. So people I want to definitely get back to. It's going to know the difference between a client email and a marketing newsletter. And then like the task references, that's file 3. That's where it understands that my main tasks live in Notion, how to prioritize them based on deadlines and based on those revenue generating activities, things like that. File 4, this is the behavioral layer. This is where it knows how to filter what's marketing noise versus something I actually need to address. What keywords in my Fathom transcripts signal something important versus just like, oh, how's the weather today? Like casual conversation. It's going to know the difference between those important client meeting conversations versus just a Zoom connection with a friend, right? So once it created all 4 of those files, I downloaded them and installed the skill within Claude. It can literally do this for you. You don't have to do anything special. But then I was like, all right, I've got all of these conversations that live, and we all do this, right? With your ChatGPT, with your Claude, with your Google, Gemini, whatever you're using, you get that list of conversations over in the left-hand sidebar. And I decided I wanted to keep all of these in one place. So now I've created a Claude project. Within that dedicated project, I asked Claude to create a set of project instructions, and it turned those skills into like a knowledge-based doc that I have uploaded to that project. So now every morning I can go in there and have it run my daily briefing. So that project is my command center. And then it remembers all of those conversations within that project. Here's what I really want you to hear, because this isn't just about productivity hacks. I mean, yeah, it's another cool AI trick, but it's more than that. I am a genuinely busy person. I hold a lot of information in my brain. I don't know if I have ADHD. I've never been diagnosed, but I do know the way that my brain works. If I think of something and I don't do it right away, I will forget. Even if I write it on a Post-it note, even if I put it in my notes app, if I don't do it in that moment, it's gone. And that has, for me, it's always come with a bit of guilt and shame, forgetting to respond to a friend, missing a follow-up, letting something slip through the cracks. I lost a client a few years ago because I had just forgotten to respond to one of her emails. And this command center, it's helping to alleviate that. It's going to help lift some of that weight of carrying around all of this stuff in my brain, of the unread email messages, the text messages that I haven't responded to. How do I prioritize that in a way that is best for me and my business without letting things slip through the cracks? So now I have a place where I can brain dump everything. And Claude's going to come back the next day and say, hey, did you do that thing that you said you were going to do yesterday? It's not judging me. It's just giving me a nudge. And that little nudge this week has been huge for me. This week, again, I've got a client project. I've got a big presentation due, a new tenant moving in, and I'm going out of town. That's a lot. And I have still felt lighter because I'm not just carrying it all alone in my brain anymore. And that's what I want to leave you with today, because this is about something bigger than just my morning routine. We're in this shift now between using AI to write us blog posts or Instagram captions and using AI to actually relieve the mental load that we carry as business owners, as adults, as just like humans running a household and a business and a life. This morning command center, it's not a pretty dashboard. It's not a vibe-coded app. It doesn't need to be. It just needs to work for me and my brain. And it does. So here's what I want you to think about. Where is there friction in your life? Where are you holding things in your brain that are weighing you down? Maybe it's not a morning briefing. Maybe it's meal planning for your whole family. Maybe it's client onboarding. Maybe it's remembering how to follow up on proposals. Whatever it is, talk to your AI of choice. Just like talk about it. Have a conversation and say, here's my problem. Help me solve it. Ask me questions. You don't need to have the answer, and the AI might not have the answer, but just starting that conversation can help you think like, oh, what if it could be this way instead? And the solution doesn't have to be perfect, right? You can iterate. My command center is going to get better. It's going to grow with me, and I'm going to make changes and tweaks as I use it. That's the beauty of this, is it can evolve with you. Okay, one more thing. The skill that Claude created for me, I have that saved as a document on my desktop now. If something happens to Claude tomorrow, I will still have those instructions. I could take them to Gemini, I could take them to ChatGPT, whatever. The tools might change, but the systems you build, those are yours. So don't forget to save them so that you can go wherever you need to go, depending on your needs. I do want to mention something else. In order for a system like this to really work for you, for your AI to understand your priorities, your business model, your revenue goals, your audience, it needs to know you, like really know you. It needs that foundation of clarity about your brand, your offers, your goals, and your voice. And if you're thinking, I don't have that documented anywhere, that's exactly what the Brand to Bot Blueprint is for. It starts off with a 90-minute deep dive where we talk and get crystal clear on your business. And then I put together a blueprint that outlines everything, where your brand needs to go so that you can get to those goals. I talk about AI systems that you can implement today internally to make your life and your business easier. And then those external systems that can help you get more visible in your business and reach the people that you're going to be able to really make a difference for. So just like this command center, it's meant to be personal to you and actually work for you and your business and your goals. So you can find all of the details at aiqueens.com/blueprint. And that's it for today, Queens. If this episode got your wheels turning, do me a favor, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with a friend who's drowning in Post-it notes and whiteboard reminders and decision fatigue. She needs to hear this. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep reigning with AI. Thanks for listening to the AI Queens podcast. If you loved today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow queen who needs to hear this. Want more tools and tips? Join the AI Queens Society over at aiqueens.com and start ruling your business with confidence today. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep reigning with AI.